What's good, bro?
What's good?
Back at it again.
Episode
Thick as
13.
Thieves podcast, episode 13 with Nate Rose.
And David Elijah Piersaul. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah, and today I think we have a really interesting game. I'm finna finesse you on per usual.
We'll see about that.
Aliki, what we got?
Win last time.
Okay, so reach under your chairs.
Ooh, a paper towel. Let's go.
Not for that.
Oh.
Yo!
Okay.
Yo, this is a
Wait,
Glock.
you have the Barbie. For the listeners, he has a pink Glock, and I have the Oppenheimer Glock.
The Oppenheimer Glock. Bro, the Oppenheimer Glock sounds way harder than the Barbie Glock.
Honestly, though.
The Barbie Glock?
Barbie Glock kind of slides. And we slide.
Legit. Yo, this is crazy. So I actually own a Glock, and this is exactly how it is, except a little bit smaller and not metal. Yes.
I don't own a gun because
You can't pull the slide back.
I don't have a violent tendency at all.
Woo! Yeah.
I'm so tempted to shoot that man, Greg. Right now.
You gotta press this slide right here. There you go.
I see.
Okay, so today we're playing
Fuck!
2 lies and a truth.
All right.
There's going to be 3 rounds, each round with its own theme. You guys will tell each other 2 lies and 1 true thing relating to that category. Then you'll tell us which of the items you think is true. Okay, then you're going to put your water guns at each other. If the other person is incorrect, you'll shoot them on 3. If the person's correct, don't shoot. The loser is going to be executed. Your first category is going to be confessions. Think of this as like bad things.
Confessions. Okay.
Confessions. I got a lot of those.
Let's see. I have a lot of embarrassing stories, and confessions, and Greg, just real quick, when you're thinking about this in the edit, just find an execution noise and just go ahead and prep that right now before we stop recording, just because.
From an actual snuff film.
And I want to if we can get just some audio of Nate just screaming and like something like because he's going to definitely lose in this competition. These are water guns, by the way.
This right here is a water gun, just for the internet. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're getting finessed for sure.
I don't know, man.
Because there's no way you're gonna. I
feel like I've told you a lot of stories, and you're not gonna be able to. You're gonna know a lot of them. So I'm coming up with the ones I haven't told you, which is gonna throw you off a little bit. You're gonna think you have a head up.
Okay, are you going first or me?
But wait, I feel like you don't have a lot of embarrassing stories though, because like you don't take a lot of risk.
I don't take risks.
No, I feel like my whole life I'm always trying to improve myself and jump out into the unknown, and you have just stayed on the straight and narrow most of your life.
Yeah, you're right, bro.
That stuff about in your raps, like this and that, like you're gonna do this and that, like that's not true.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, bro. I ain't never taking a risk, bro.
Let's find out.
Never.
Let's find out who takes the double in this.
All right, you going first? No, hey, yo,
I already know I'm winning.
No, hold up.
Because we're gonna get demonetized.
No, at the end of this, we're gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
All right, which are confessions? Let me hear him. What you got?
Confessions. This is my confessions. All right. My phone just went off. I thought I put it on silent. All right. Okay, so once during the first day of class, the teacher asked us to write questions, and he will read them aloud anonymously, and he'll read them out loud to discuss with the class. And I wrote, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Okay. Looked at a teacher's butt in the hallway, and she turned around and caught me. I hit a truck at the movie theater and reparked so they didn't think it was me, and I was never caught.
Ooh. Okay. I once told my friend that I was gonna scoop him for a party, but I left him on purpose and later told him that I didn't go. I once made a girl in my class cry because I said she had a face a hog would be ashamed of.
Jeez, why are these all Nate just doing
and I once
things?
stole money from people's clothes at a pool party.
Oof.
Listen, man. I'm going to say for you, I'm going to guess the truth. Now, don't tell me.
All right.
Because I'm going to shoot you in your
Go ahead.
I think you looked at a teacher's butt. And I think I know which teacher it was. Because that sounds like, hey.
I didn't tell you it was kindergarten. No, I'm joking.
Okay, I'm guessing that's the true one. That you looked at a girl, that you looked at the teacher's butt and she caught you.
Okay.
What do you think mine is?
I think yours is you're pretty straight and narrow. You don't steal. You're not the type, you're a pretty direct person. You wouldn't tell someone you're going to scoop someone from a party and lie to them. You'd be like, I just don't want to scoop you. So I'm going to go with the girl's face that you said.
Dang, yeah, I'd be telling girls like all the time. I'm like,
no, you don't. But like, I feel like you guys were joking around or something. All right. Happened. Hold up, bro. You getting too comfortable with that? Well, hold up. I don't actually own a gun. Okay, I'm going to do what my ancestors
Yo, hold on. You got to lean closer, bro. I'm not trying to hit you in your eyes.
All right.
3,
2, 1.
Did I hit? Okay, I'm just making sure. We both got it wrong?
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
All right, what's your true answer,
My truth is that I hit a car at the movie theaters and reparked.
Really?
Yeah. And
you know what teacher I was talking about, too.
I know what teacher you're talking about. It was funny. I only had her for like a couple weeks because she was pregnant during our semester, and then we ended up getting a substitute teacher, Mr. Deloach, which is one of my favorite teachers of all time.
Well, my other confession...
we were the first class of his, crazy enough.
My other confession is that she was pregnant with my son.
Leaky, what are you going to do?
Okay, that's crazy. Dude, I once stole money from people's clothes at a pool party.
Oh.
So here's the thing, bro. I had a short spurt when I was in high school.
They say
like a very
everything. I show you what it do.
There were 2 times where there's 2 times when I stole something.
Yeah.
And I did it because I don't know, at the time I was like, oh, it's easy. I could literally just do this. I'd never get caught. Then I did it. And then I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. I'm never doing this again. Like, so basically,
learned your lesson.
I was like, I just kind of like, I don't know. I guess I was I don't know if I was being rebellious or what was going through my mind, but I was just like, oh, I can just have this thing for free. And then I did it, and I was like,
I think everyone has a story like that. Like, I remember one time, dude, I catcalled a girl when I was in like high school. I remember this at the water park. I catcalled because I was just exploring. I was like, dang, shawty, you fine or something like that. And she gave me the goofiest look, and I was like, oh, that's just not the way to go about that. Because I actually was genuinely interested in her.
It works for construction workers in New York.
It doesn't, though. They go home to their... what they say? What's that line in Wolf of Wall Street? Go back home to your miserable lives. And your...
Oh, my God.
That's a crazy one.
All right, what's the next category?
Okay, the next category is embarrassing secrets. So for this one, think of times that you've embarrassed yourself. Or you look back and think something's cringe.
Wow.
I got so many of these.
Wow. Okay.
You going first this time.
I will go first.
All right. Yeah. For some reason, I feel like, I'll be real with y'all. Like, I love anybody who watches this podcast, and thanks for all the new subs. But I don't be wanting to share all this with y'all. Be real with you.
To be real with you, bro? Me neither.
I feel like if you're watching this, you need to leave a comment on your most embarrassing thing that's happened in your life, period.
I'm going first?
You're going first.
All right. I once was freestyling a verse and accidentally said the N-word while trying to say ninja.
That's not true. Come on now.
I once peed the bed at a friend's house and I stole a pair of their underwear without them noticing, so I didn't have to address it. And I once got pantsed by a girl in front of my friends and I started swinging on her.
That last one is not true. Come on now. That was a good one. But that's not true. You did not swing on a girl. If you did, okay. All right, so one time I watched pornography on a PlayStation Portal because my phone was grounded from me. Wiped my butt with a t-shirt because we were out of toilet paper and I was at a friend's house and scared to ask. Okay. All right, one time I caught a turd and tossed it in the toilet because I couldn't make it to the toilet fast enough with my hand.
Wait, what? There's no way one of these is true. There's literally no way. Wait, what was the first one you said?
I said, watch pornography on a PlayStation Portal because I was grounded from my phone. But not my PlayStation.
The PSP's got to be true. That's so specific. And then you got to guess mine.
I think that the stealing your friend's boxers because you didn't want to. I think that's the true one.
Okay.
That sounds like something you really do. Or I would do that, honestly. Shoot, I still would do that.
Aim.
I've done that to you at your house currently. All right.
3, 2, 1.
Dude, we're never gonna guess the right one.
Yo, these got
I
some,
want one of
these got
these,
some
bro.
kickback, bro.
Can I keep this, Leaky?
I mean, we bought it on the business card.
Are you
Huh?
getting hit?
I'm getting sprayed with something.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
It's
he's
going
getting
a
hit.
little over your bill. So
Oh, is it?
There. I'm
Damn!
making sure he's getting
My
hit.
shirt.
Man. you have a damn near a rain jacket on.
Feels like a waterproof, don't it? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, so, wait. So what was your true one?
My true one was I called a turd.
You caught a turd, and
bro.
threw it into the toilet with your hand.
Picture this. Cross-country practice. The turd had just built up over the run. It was a 6-mile run that day. My grandma, something happened. She couldn't pick me up. I had to walk to her house was close to the high school. I had to walk to her house. And it was idling the whole time. Like it was like going in and out, right? And
Yo, we did not need...
listen.
No, we did
It
not
was going
need the
in and
sound
out.
effect, bro.
Greg, you listen. I know you got the headphones on. It was going in and out, right? And I was walking, bro. I was fast-paced walking. Got to the point where I couldn't even fast-paced walk no more. I had to like take each step with caution. I get to the house, and you know how it gets worse when you get closer, right?
Yes.
I get to the house, right? Listen, I'm starting to unlock the door. She has she's old, so she had like multiple locks. I was hitting the deadbolt to hit the regular lock, and she has stairs. I run upstairs, but something about the stairs and the extension of the leg started to slip out, bro. So what I did was I was in my cross-country shorts, so I untied them real quick, slid them down. The turd came out, caught it, toilet's on the other side of the bathroom. I went, tossed it.
You made it in the toilet?
I made it. It hit the rim. It bounced off the rim.
Oh, shoot.
So I had to sit on the toilet with
So basically what you were
skid
saying, you were
marks.
like this, Kobe!
No, Curry, bro.
Curry?
It
was from long range?
It was long range, 3-point.
shoot.
Hit the rim, bro. Skid marks on the rim. I had to sit on the skid marks. And then I continued my dump with just a streak of turd on my right hand.
Wow.
Yes, true story.
That is, I love that, actually.
True story. Yeah, true story.
That's beautiful.
Honestly, I feel like it's an accomplishment. I like to
Hey,
think of
dude.
it.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
No, hold up.
Yeah.
You don't know my true one.
Dang it.
No, dude. I once got pantsed by a girl in front of my friends, and I started
swim?
No, here's what I didn't tell you.
You swung on her?
Listen. Here's what I didn't tell you. I was like 9 years old, and she was like 15 or 16. She was a neighbor.
That's justified.
She was a neighbor, and I was hanging out with my friends, and I don't know for what reason, she just thought it'd be funny if like she came up behind me and pants me. And so she did it, and I was so mad. I went into the room, and I like ran into the house, and I was like, I didn't know what to do. I was like, right? And then I'm fighting her. Like, and I literally...
Because you were actually, as a 9-year-old, I was like, I'm embarrassed right now.
Yeah, bro. And I was like, I can't let this slide, is what I thought in my head. So and because I had to think about it too, because she was a girl, but then I was like, she's older than me, so like... It's not as bad.
It's crazy how kids know. They're like, we like, she wasn't supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I came back out and I just started trying to fight her. But dude, the thing is, the difference between like a 9-year-old boy and a 15 or 16-year-old girl, as far as like physicality and strength and height, dog, I couldn't even hit her. I think she was just like
moving and
stiff arming me and stuff. I was
I'm dead.
But
dang,
yeah.
Nate got beat up by a girl is what I heard.
Well, she didn't hit me back, luckily.
Good.
Okay. All right. What's the last last topic? This is a crazy podcast for anyone listening to this.
Our last category is girls gone wrong. These are times that you messed up with the ladies.
Girls gone, is that it? Oh, that's girls gone wild. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a play on words, dude.
Messed up with the ladies, bro. I ain't never done no goofy shit like that, to be honest.
Because he only deals with men.
Right. Aliki was clearing her throat because I decided to get married to her.
Aliki, you set yourself up for that one.
That's right. That's true.
That's what someone says when they don't got nothing to say back. They go, wow. Look, you just did.
All right. Dang, we lost both of these.
Actually, this is very easy for me because my success with women has been mostly by accident.
All right. I'm in here.
It's me, right? First?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Had a girl chew up some Doritos and spit them inside of my mouth. Had her do it.
Forced her to do it.
Held a girl's hand in the movie theater several minutes after she asked me why I was doing it, eventually letting go and enjoying the movie awkwardly. Bought a girl perfume from Hollister with my last dollars because she said she would kiss me if I got it for her.
Ooh. Dang, bro, these are good. Hey, listen, I'm gonna say this. You're doing a really good job of masking it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Man, that's tough.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's tough. All right. I once broke up with a girl because she was too boring, and after we broke up, she called me 91 times in a row afterwards.
That checks out, honestly. You're a pretty fun person.
I once asked a girl on a date just because her mom was a teacher at the school, and I was mad at the teacher.
That also sounds like something Nate would do. That sounds like that Kendrick verse? Let's not bring that up.
And I once asked as many girls for a kiss during the day as I could just to see what number I could get to.
Those all sound like something Nate would have definitely done, which is funny. That's crazy. You just complimented me, but that was
of me, bruh.
No, but I know you.
Wow.
I'm probably one step below Aliki in terms of knowing you.
Wow, yeah.
So all right.
I'm gonna, for you, bro, I'm gonna say the Hollister one, bro. That sounds like something you would do. I'm thinking yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the dang, those are all good. I'm gonna go with the girl breaking up. You broke up with the girl and she called you 91 times.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, I didn't get shot? Let's go! That's what I'm talking about. Did I hit you? Did I hit him? Just want to make sure.
I felt it.
All right, cool. All right, which one was true? Oh, that was true.
That was true.
Let's go. Okay.
That was true. Yeah.
You won't believe which one.
I felt. I didn't feel bad, but I started dating this girl because I thought she was attractive or whatever, and then I quickly realized that she had no personality.
Oof.
And then when we broke up, she was like, dude, we only dated for 2 or 3 weeks.
She was thirsty.
No, I don't know. But after that, bro, for real, I had 91 missed calls. And I was like...
Dang, dude.
Because, I mean, I was just like, nah,
high school?
It has to... Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Jeez, dude. Yeah, I figured the boring one with you because I know you like to have fun with people. So, that was my best guess. The other ones were... I mean, the kissing one seemed like it could have been true, too. Because you are a degenerate.
What's your true one, bro?
My true one is I had a girl chew up Doritos and spit them into my mouth. Let me give you a little backstory on it though.
Wow.
Let me give you. It was an ex-girlfriend of mine, and I'm actually pissed about it still to this day. It was an ex-girlfriend. We were at Walmart, and she was eating Doritos, and we got out of the car, and I said, give me a kiss, but I didn't know she had the Doritos in her mouth. She thought it would be funny to chew Doritos and spit them into my mouth, and we broke up on the spot. I was like, that was so disgusting. It pissed me off.
That's crazy.
You broke up on the spot.
Yes, I was like, why would you do that?
Oh,
it was so gross. You know what texture feels like when you chew up Doritos in your mouth and you keep it? She washed it on saliva and created this amalgamation of Cheeto or Dorito crust and spit it in my mouth.
Oh my God.
Almost threw up insane, bro.
Yeah, I was mad. So that was true. That's true.
Dang. So I'm the loser. So I got to get executed.
Yeah.
You know why I wanted to win this one so bad? It's because I took an execution from the tortilla. Where's your gun at? I'll spray this whole place up. Greg, keep making them goofy edits of me. Aliki keeps making me eat fish sauce. Oh, chill out. Yeah. And now that that's done, kind of thirsty, I'm not gonna lie.
Wow.
All right.
Yo. Wow. That was, I really enjoyed that game. Bro, fun. I don't think I got none of them right.
You didn't, did you?
I didn't.
I think there's a little bit of an advantage of being an embarrassing person and having goofy things happen to you by nature, which is hard for you to guess which ones are true with me. With you, I feel like less things happen.
That's very humble of you to say. I think that you just had good, you had a good sandwich. Sometimes when people play this game, they'll make the thing that is true a little too specific, and then the other stuff is a little too general.
Right. That's what I thought about that. Yeah.
So
I think you were thinking about that too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started
All right.
all mine with I Once because I didn't want to.
That's a good one. Yeah. Well, bro, we went and seen Sound of Freedom.
And Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. Both of them, bro.
What are we talking about first?
Oh, man. I think we could talk briefly about Mission Impossible because I think we both agree it was a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah. Lot bit.
Why?
Lot bit. I just, okay, one of my biggest pet peeves in movies is when it seems like the characters in the movies do not act as regular people would act in particular situations. And so there were so many moments throughout Mission Impossible, especially when, and I'm going to try not to give any spoilers away, but especially when it's like a character that's like sole mission is to like capture a specific person or kill a specific person or whatever.
Sure.
And then they have the opportunity to do that. You know, there's the movie trope where it's like the guy's hunting this other dude and he finally has the opportunity to like kill him and he does this whole like dialogue sequence with the gun pointed at him.
Every time, yeah.
And then
they did that.
But it was like so often, and there were so many opportunities where different things should have happened if like people were rational. And I've seen movies, action movies, I've seen them do it to where that stuff is minimized. So knowing that I've seen that executed in that way, you don't need the cheap, like, tropey acting out of character type stuff. And so that was one big criticism of mine, for sure.
I agree with that. I think what it's weird because the last one was incredible.
I loved the last one.
I thought they killed it.
Yeah.
And I actually, we should have done some research, but I don't know if it's the same director.
It is the same director.
It is? Okay.
Yep. Which I don't get it. Now it's the same director, except I think on Fallout there were a couple other people that were associated with the film that I either co-directed or were involved with it. And to me, they brought the sauce. So I mean, no disrespect to whatever the director's name, I forgot his name, but
I'll say this: every action movie, they're gonna have a little bit of something. Even the best ones are gonna have a little bit of something like that in there. Because it's a movie, you got to embellish a little bit. You got to make it fun or make it interesting.
I can let it slide once or twice.
Right, but they did it so much. I mean, there's also that trope of like one of my biggest things, and I mentioned it to you all the time, which is like treating the audience like they're stupid. I remember the spoiler ahead. I remember one part where they're talking about the impossible mission that they're about to embark on, or the CIA is about to give to someone, some agent or whatever, and they're like talking about the AI. He's like, yeah, the AI is like, it's like a super intelligent thing and it's like doing all these things. He goes, so what you're saying is that it has a mind of its own.
Yep.
That right there is a line that could have been omitted.
Yep.
In regards to knowing that the audience can catch on to what's being discussed.
Yes.
That is like that line could have easily been cut, but they put that in there for like, I guess what? People who don't know what's being talked about.
I 100%
like
agree with you. And on top of that, another criticism I had of the movie was, and this is also another pet peeve, is how much exposition is given in the dialogue rather than shown. Right? So to that same point, it's like that's just straight. They're through dialogue, they're being very on the nose about like delivering necessary information for the story and whatever. And they did that so much where it's like, yo, show us that in a creative way. Allow things to be revealed. Having it delivered via dialogue is like the worst way to have it delivered.
Yes, I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I think what Mission Impossible succeeds at versus what it fails at in this movie. I think they kind of got too caught up in the stunts. It's one of the best action movies in terms of stunts ever, I think. You got real things happening, real practical effects. They even did it in the last one with the parachute and Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise falling. Had real like certified skydivers shooting it, or assisting the shooting of it. And this one they had, him really jumping off a mountain and really using a wingsuit and parachuting to the plane or to the train and stuff like that. Also, that train scene was amazing, where they were climbing up the train.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
Cool scene. It had me on the edge of my seat. But it's like almost like, I think movies do this a lot. They lean that when they realize the success of their movie is based a lot around what they're doing, like stunts. Yeah. They kind of let other things fall to the wayside. Yeah. Like Marvel now, for instance, real quick, is like they've gotten so caught up in the fan favor, which is like, oh, we've seen like, Michael or DC, we've seen Michael Keaton in the old Batman and now the new Flash, right? It's like now they're leaning into that rather than like, yo, but what are the stakes here? Like, is anyone really going to get hurt in this movie? Is someone like,
Yeah.
so like they're leaning to these things that they think people are, but
I got some crazy stuff about the Flash too that I'll have to tell you
we should
later.
go into that. I just I think that a lot of, and I've never made a movie that big, but like, I think a lot of these people who are making these movies forget that the audience know stories. Mm-hmm. We know stories. Mm-hmm. We talked about this before on the podcast.
Yep.
Towards the beginning episodes, right? We tell stories on an everyday basis. We understand story, and to think that we've all forgot about story and that we just want fan favorite is a mistake on their end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yo, to say something else about the stunts, I think you brought up a great point. So this was another thing that I didn't like. Tom Cruise in the Fallout movie, what Mission Impossible 4,
right?
You know, jumping out of the plane or whatever. That was sold to me. That I feel like it was worth the practical, worth him actually doing it. The shot itself, that being captured on camera, it looked amazing. It looked like this couldn't have been done with CGI.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It didn't look fake at all. And I feel like, dude, the jumping off the ramp, off the cliff, I feel like it looked more epic in the BTS than it did in the film. And when I watched it in the film, I was like, this might as well have been VFX.
You think they dropped you think they lowered the ball a little bit on that? Is what you're
I
saying.
think that it was totally not worth the return of him actually doing it because of the shot that they captured.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I was like, I'm like, this could have been cheap VFX and I would have had the same effect.
I see what you're saying, because they could have done that. Like, I could see some, like, just other, like, Extraction or something, some other movie that's, like, just doing that, and it wouldn't have, I can't picture it any different way. Like,
right.
The thing about Tom Cruise doing it is because him flying the fighter jets, or him holding onto the side of a plane, it's because we're capturing we're like, oh, this moment's real. We're like, dang, we're seeing real emotion. That's the point of practical effects, is that they seem real. You're right. And
you just see a wide shot of him going up, and then you just kind of see this like really far away shot of him just, there was, they didn't capture it in a way that like made the fact that it was practically done by Tom Cruise epic. And so that
true.
was another issue.
That's true. Remember they did that in Fallout, right? They had they had all that Henry Cavill and them like flying through the clouds and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
It felt real. Yeah.
But it was captured in a beautiful way. It was like, yo, I've never seen this. They had the helmets on, I think, didn't they?
Yeah.
That was
You're right.
crazy.
Overall, I'll say this. Final notes, because I didn't completely dislike the movie.
Yeah.
It sucks because I think movie franchises, they train their audience on how to treat them. If you're just a movie goer like me, you're a little different. You go to movies a lot less frequently than I do. But you're a moviegoer like me. You have to train me on how to treat a movie. Insidious, those movies, I go to them like they're goofy horror movies now, because the first ones are great, but now they've gotten kind of goofy. Fast and the Furious, they're like, first ones are great, now they're kind of goofy. I go into it to laugh and to enjoy action, like buff dudes just fighting each other.
Yeah.
Now Mission Impossible, I'm like, this is the first. If the next one's like that, I'm going to Mission Impossible to see Tom Cruise be dope.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy. Yeah. Which is like, action movie with the sauce.
Yes. So I think there's some validity to that point, but for me, it's like, if you executed on Fallout 4, you
gotta do better.
Fallout, if you executed properly on that, it had all the elements of action, and it had a way better story and was more engaging to me. It was like, that needs to be recreated. To me, the new Mission Impossible felt like it could have been done in like 2005. Like, there was no, in the editing, I mean, I don't know. I was not a fan.
It was like Point Blank, those old movies. It was like, it could have just, you're right.
What about Sound of Freedom? Sound of Freedom, what are your thoughts on that?
Unfortunately, we didn't get to go see that one together. So, I'll say this. I went into the movie thinking it was a Christian faith-based film, but they didn't do that much. They had moments in there, which Angel Studios is a Christian production studio, but they didn't do it that much, which I'm not mad about. That's not what I actually think there's a lot of Christian movies that are B-movie, aside the ones like Passion of Christ and stuff like that. But I went into it. I'm glad that
God's Not Dead is terrible.
Yeah, those are not good movies. Kendrick Brother movie. Like, look, I'll say this. I feel like as filmmakers, it's weird because just like you, I don't want to talk like if you put a movie out there, it's with the predisposition that you're going to pre-understanding, maybe is a better word, that people are going to look at it and be judgmental or positive about it. So in my opinion, those movies are corny to me, and I'm looking for Christian movies like Passion of Christ or Hacksaw Ridge that are going to go and show us real world situations and then show the God in it all, right? And this movie did that for me in an interesting way, which I liked it for that reason. I enjoyed the movie. I thought the subject matter was pretty impactful, and they had a special message at the end. I don't know if you guys stayed around to watch that, which I thought was very interesting. A pay it forward campaign, stuff like that. We went into it thinking it was a B movie. I thought it looked good. And I mean, the budget was $14 million, and they have now grossed $65 million estimated, and the opening weekend was $19 million. So
me and Aliki had to go to a different theater because it was full at the showing we went to.
Dude, funny enough, I booked my ticket in advance. I always do because I have that Regal app thing, a subscription, and there was 2 people in the theater, and I show up, and I'm like scooting past people to get to my seat. I'm like, oh, this is packed, which is good because, in my opinion, we need to get people in the theater to show what to get people more interested in Christian movies. Yeah. And so I enjoyed it for that reason. What do you think?
I think that just broadly speaking, to speak on these Christian themes, I feel like a lot of people, if you're Christian, that there's the message of the movie and then there's the art of the movie.
Right.
And I feel like people gave like God's Not Dead a pass just because, and I'm like, look, you can be a Christian and also just be like, this movie was terrible.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so now I don't think that way about Sound of Freedom. What I will say about Sound of Freedom, very heavy topic. I think technically it looked good. It didn't feel like overly corny to me. There were a couple moments that felt a little bit like
Which one?
Spoilers ahead. One thing I didn't like that they did is that they often, especially in dialogue, they often cut to the main actor, the lead, and it was just his face was so serious, right? And I feel like that shot is reserved for like 1 or 2 moments in a movie where something is, but it seemed like they did that shot so many times. And I mean, I feel like there was a lot of emotion in the eyes, but it was like so serious. I feel like they changed scenes really like abruptly in a way that it just was like, okay, now we're just in this next thing, and now we're just in this next thing, and now we're just in this next thing. And then the third thing that I had that's a criticism is, to me, the pace of the movie felt like a little slow. And I think part of that's the dialogue. I think sometimes when the dialogue was delivered, it wasn't in a conversation. Like, look at the speed at which I'm talking to you. So, right, if we're just talking, but if I start talking about what we should do next, then it starts to be really dramatic for no reason. You know, and that's kind of how it felt to me. Right. It's like every moment was like that's what was kind of keeping me a little bit out of feeling is real. Now, on the positive side, I think it looked beautiful. I think it was very well shot, especially for a $14 million budget.
Yes.
That's not a huge
and all
budget.
Those locations too.
And all the locations. I thought the acting was pretty good for the most part. And especially the kids. I thought the kids,
they went stupid.
They went crazy.
Yes.
I mean, you really. I was fully
cute. That little boy is so cute, bro. I was like, want to squeeze his cheeks. He's cute.
That's a crazy thing to say in regards to this movie.
What? He was cute. That was the whole thing. Was that he was saved and he was a cute little boy. What do you mean? I'm talking about squeezing his face.
The boy was cute, huh?
Come on now. What's his name, Miguel?
Too far. Nah. I agree. But yeah, I feel like there was something about the movie, just the feel of it, that just wasn't quite where blockbuster movies are in terms of like I don't know, maybe it's the pacing. I'm trying to identify those things that I feel like it's just falling short of. I think the concept, all of that, I mean, obviously raising awareness for this is like super, super important. And I think there were some really like powerful moments and things that happened in it, but there was something that kept me out of it. And I think it had to do with the filmmaking itself, not the...
Let me ask you this. Do you think that would have existed without the pre-understanding that it had a Christian studio behind it and that it may be a Christian film?
I didn't know it was a Christian studio that was making it. So I went into it.
Okay, got you. Cool. Yeah. I agree with you to a certain extent. I'm wondering, I have to be careful though, because I'm wondering if that is the onslaught of understanding that like I wonder if it's like the limitations they're willing to go to. Because we have to be careful with, I think me personally, I have to be careful with that. Like, because if you do have the foundation of a Christian studio, there's certain walls you can't bounce over, or they feel that they can't bounce over because it no longer becomes Christian, like insane, like vulgar language, sexual scenes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, honestly, when they see that rawness of a movie, they go, they like it a little bit more, like Prisoners, for example, which deals with a movie with a similar subject on pedophilia. Yeah. And it's straight raw, and you have like Hugh Jackman being like pretty vulgar in the movie. And it's like, I wonder if if Hacksaw Ridge, for instance, is a movie in Passion of Christ, they go over a wall a little bit. Mm-hmm. You got Christ being like, treated like a dog. Yeah. Super bloody. Then you got Hacksaw Ridge, which is like
Christ, which I need to watch it.
Crazy. You should watch it. Yeah. It's a crazy film, classic. And you got Hacksaw Ridge, which is like a Christian movie, but bro, they're not holding any punches with the vulgarity. Like, people are cussing. You got racism. You got people just getting their head blown off, grenades thrown off limbs, and like Mel Gibson is one of those people who's taken it to that level. And I wonder if Angel will get there. Just real quick, I agree with you on that. I think what I'm excited about though, from a guy who's interested in seeing more Christian media catch up, is I'm excited because Angel Studios is the first one, in my opinion, that markets himself as a Christian studio and is trying to get there. Mel Gibson is like kind of on the edge a little bit in terms of that. And it's like Angel has The Chosen, which is a story about essentially, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and the other disciples in the Gospels being created, and Christ walked throughout this earth before he died and was resurrected, right? Mm-hmm. That's what that story's about. It's huge.
I want to watch that show too.
Dude, it's I watched only one episode, but my dad watches it and says it's great. But it still has a B-movie type of the budgets aren't there. Yeah. But I'm ready to see this. I'm really ready to see it, and I wonder what Angel will do next. And I don't know, man. I don't know what that factor is, because I think I know what you're talking about. What that factor is it the people behind the movies? Mm-hmm. Because the truth is, man, like you know how we talked about this, like we were talking about conservatives not quite getting to the media or to the art culture yet. Like, I think there's something like that with Christian too, with Christianity. It's like the one side definitely controls art. Like there just happens to be more liberal left that really like is the art of the world. Right. Not choosing sides, of course, just like they run the art, and conservatives don't have that yet. I think there's Christians have the same thing. It's like people who don't identify with a religion or some sort of or Christianity, to be more specific, is they run art as well, and like Christians are always like 2 or 3 years behind, even with hip hop. And I wonder what that is, and I do wonder if it's the people behind, and that's what I've got. Do I need to get? Actually, I'd love to hear that. Yeah, go ahead. Real quick, because it might be what you're gonna say. I don't know, but like, is it if I get a chance to direct a Christian movie, is it my prerogative to hire a Christian DP, or do I hire the best DP? Or a Christian writer, or the best writers to write for a Christian movie? Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think, not to say that there's no Christian writers who can do it, of course, that's not the case. But, because Mel Gibson is an incredible director. But like, what I wonder if that has anything to do with it. I'm curious to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, I think that, and I'll make a music analogy with it, because so for me, it's been hard to figure out how to package certain things that I'm interested in into trap music. And the reason for that is because there hasn't been just like a ton of precedent for what to talk about. Yeah. I know, everybody knows how to talk about getting money over a trap beat. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many examples of it, so the road has been paved as far as that goes. And I think, but what's harder is like, how do I talk about some deeply philosophical ideas or financial literacy in a way that doesn't come off corny or forced or whatever into a trap record, right? And there's nobody that has fully paved that lane for me, so I kind of have to go into it myself. And then what that does is sometimes I'm kind of missing the mark or whatever, right?
It's so easy at that line to become corny or like not like the rap.
Exactly, because it has to be packaged in a way that
palatable.
Exactly. Palatable. And
my vocabulary is ass.
No, I think but I think the same thing is with the Christian movies. Like if every major movie in Hollywood had a Christian theme and an undertone and more traditional values like inculcated into it, then I think you would have a lot more, like, it'd be a lot easier for Christians to bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what happens is, I mean, God's Not Dead, again, is a great example of totally missing that mark, which is they did just such an unbelievable, like, out of reality depiction of, like, these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of force-fed a weird, like, Christian narrative on top of a story that made no sense.
Yes.
And I think that's like a total failed example, and I think there are others that totally can bridge the gap better. And I think that over time, as more of these films actually come to light and people are able to see some of these things executed well, I think that's where it starts to become you start to have just like a renaissance of how to package Christian values into movies without being on the nose.
Yes, I love that you said that. It's weird because I always try to think, because I do, this is me being quite honest, is like I do see a future in myself where I make a movie that represents the things that I believe in one day. So it's really like a philosophical idea that I'm struggling with trying to figure out where that it's going to exist, because I don't want to make a movie. For instance, one of my goals is like I don't want to make stuff that only Christians see.
Yeah.
And the reason is I'll be happy for Christians to see it, but what's the point of my movie? Is it for Christians to go to church, or is it to win souls?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, how do I win souls? God's Not Dead I have people in my family who's not going to go see God's Not Dead and give their life to Christ. They're going to go, this is corny.
Yes. Yep.
But me and my family can go there and like, oh, this is, praise the Lord and like worship.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, God is good. So it's like, but what does that do? Like, cool, we got to enjoy a movie. We got to go to church for a second. And I wanted to mention this before we move on, which is like, I do think there's a guy who, it's weird because he doesn't identify as a Christian as far as I know, but he has semi-Christian tones in almost every one of his projects. He always dealt with intelligent design and people dealing with the unknown, and that's Damien Lindelof, the writer of Lost and The Leftovers. Mm-hmm. And The Leftovers does it really well. I think it's the most like on par with what I'm talking about series, because it has the idea of the rapture in it, in a different sense. And I wonder that is for me, that if as a filmmaker, it's like, that's my biggest goal, is to figure out how to show it, but don't show it and show how people really react to it. Don't hold back on what real life is. Can I be real for a second? Whenever I'm trying to preach the good news, gospel means good news. If I'm trying to preach the gospel to people, the people I'm preaching to sometimes are saying the F word, or they're like talking about some girl they slept with last night, or like, these are real people that are Christ wants as much as he wants me. So like, why do we think that we can't go out into those places? Mm-hmm. Why did Christ go to sleep? Why did Christ go and hang out with the lepers? Why did he go hang out with the people who were unsaved, the unforgivable? Mm-hmm. Because, so it's like, for me, it's like, like, there has to be a movement. Christian hip hop is getting there. We see that. You know what I mean?
On the Christian hip hop topic, I actually had this exact discussion with Dylan. No big deal.
We need to get him on here.
No, 100%. Yeah, that'll happen. But bro, it's exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So for him, like, if you look at a lot of Christian music, it's a Jesus counter. That's what Derek Minor put it that way one time. But it's like how many times are you saying Jesus in Christian contemporary music? That's how successful the song will be. It's like oh, we got to hit the Jesus quota. Like, as far as,
it's like,
in
you're
the
not
song,
Christian no more. You fell off. You went to the mainstream. Like, Christians will
yeah. And I think that's a totally wrong perspective. Yeah. But when I was talking to Dylan, his thing is like, I want to talk about real life issues and how my belief in God and how my belief in God, how that maps onto real life issues and things that I'm really going through. So instead of just staying in this lane of like, God is good, praise him, like all these themes that are totally foreign to people who aren't Christian. They're just, you know what I'm saying? He's able to talk about infidelity that, you know what I'm saying, that he had. Yeah. And then what was going through his thoughts and how, like, and how, and how, like, he felt like he could have gotten away with the infidelity, but God was basically telling him, no, you need to come clean about this for your own soul. And the trials and tribulations he went through that process with his wife, and like all of those type of themes, bro. I think he does it amazingly well, and I think that's exactly what you're talking about. So I think if you feel like long term that's where like directing and stuff is going, which I think makes sense, then I think you and Dylan should really like tap in on a conversation about how to execute that on a deeply artistic level.
I would love to do that. I was gonna say I think that No Big Deal will be the biggest Christian hip hop artist eventually.
I mean, he's already pretty close,
Bro, there are so many people, not just Christians, who are longing to see the coolness of it all.
Yep.
They're longing because the fact of the matter is, like, people, like, Jesus was not a square, bro. He was not a square. He was a cool dude. He was smooth. He was articulate. He was charismatic. People flocked to him.
Yeah.
He's charismatic. And, like, even if you are square, it doesn't matter. But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people who just don't relate to some of these. People are complex.
Yeah.
God made us that way.
Yep.
So, like, you got people who like rap music and who want to dress this way, and you got people who want to dress in jean skirts and go to church and cover everything on their body. You got these different things. Mm-hmm. And we got to figure out a way to get it to both people.
Yeah.
So I think No Big Deal for that reason. He's getting there. He feels like he's going to get to the point where like he can be a Kendrick of the CHH world.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that.
Yeah. I mean, and also, you know, you have secular artists that have found a Christian faith and have found ways to integrate that. You know.
True.
So you have Kendrick, Kanye, Chance the Rapper.
Kanye kills it.
Right, and okay,
Chance the Rapper is great.
Right,
yeah.
right. Oh, and also Dylan posted a clip of a Chance the Rapper record that I don't think is out yet, but bro, I was like, this is fire lyrically.
He's talented though.
No, he's crazy.
I think he just.
But I mean, listen to Kanye's music, bro. Like Kanye's even making like on bro.
What?
Donda. Okay, I was like, I've literally forgot. No, on Donda, bro. I feel like he has some outwardly just like Christian themes, but it's still done in a dope artistic way. Like, guess who's going to jail tonight?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? God gonna pay my bail tonight.
He has like the background vocals. Lord, please wrap your arms around me. Wrap your arms around with your mercy. And then it's like, you got these other vocals coming in.
Yeah, so even if you stay in a pure, like, it's got to be artistic. You can't just like, I do know, and I think this is a smaller subsect, but I do think that there are some Christian hip hop artists that I see that feel like they should have a career just because they're preaching the gospel. And it's like, dog, like, if your music is not good, it's not connecting with people on an emotional level, and maybe that's not your calling.
If you're not a good preacher, you're not going to have a big church.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't relate to your sermons. I want to say this, Aliki, right? Donda's one of your favorite albums, right? Right.
It's her favorite album.
That's awesome. Really. I want to say this to anyone listening. You probably don't care, but I actually have 2 separate versions of very, very, very meticulous recreations of the Donda album in different playlists on my Spotify. I have one because I felt like it was 2 albums combined in one. I spent hours crafting this. There's Donda V2 and V3. The original Donda's V1. They just have 2 different feels, and they're even organized in a way that it feels like an album party, like listening situation, experience. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll link you.
Hey, his curation skills are crazy, so.
Curating out here.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Listen, like and subscribe. I don't know why I have to say this every video, but, you know, I'm trying to remind you.
And press that bell notification so you can get notified for every new video that we have.
Do all the things that might help us out. We trying to blow up and get us out the hood, the poverty. You know, there's the writer's strike going on. I think the actors have just joined it, right? And
yes, dude. The freaking...
Tell me all about this.
Actors and some cast of Oppenheimer walked out of the premiere to join the writer's strike.
They walked out of the premiere of Oppenheimer?
They did.
That's crazy.
They did. They walked out of Oppenheimer.
I'd never do that.
And it's crazy, man. It's very, very... we haven't had a writer's strike since 2007. Actor strike we've had recently. But... they've joined together. There's a couple things happening. For one, with the onslaught of streaming, with everything happening in that world, writers don't feel as if the compensation is matching those numbers. And Kyra Jones in 2004 said she made $12,000 in residuals. But in 2023, she made $4 in residuals. So, for instance, the Friends cast is no longer getting paid $1 million for how many reruns that they're playing on different streaming services. What's happening is that when broadcast was set in stone and people were selling shows to networks like FX and AMC, you know, you were getting booked for like 22 episode series. The writers would get on there, they get paid a rate, and it's great. But now, and it was less shows being created. Well, now you got streaming, you got HBO Max, you got Netflix, you got Hulu, all these Amazon Prime, you got all these people like Apple Music. They're all wanting exclusives and originals, so they're all trying to create content so fast, and they're only booking shorter ones because people's attention spans are shorter and things are being released
like limited series and stuff like that
for intentions to binge, like 10 episodes, 12 episodes, usually no more than that. But writers are working more, getting paid the same, while executives are getting paid increases in their salaries. There's been an estimated of $773 billion amongst executives of different studios like Disney and the big boys, you know. So yeah, they're really mad about it. They're upset about it, and the actors, just, you know, that's their boys. They read these scripts and they get in there and they're like, they have to really get into these minds and these characters. Yeah. So they heard about this and they're you know, they're like, we're all about it. But then there's been an issue with the contracts right now recently where they're trying to pay background actors a day rate. Come on set for a day, pay you the day rate, but we get to use your likeness in perpetuity throughout the universe for AI. We generate AI.
Oh, like deepfakes and stuff?
Deepfakes, bro. Deepfakes, so they can, you know, recreate these background actors, not pay, you know, if a background actor's getting paid $400 a day on a 3-month shoot and you have 50 plus background, that's a lot of money. So they're like, oh, we can cut some dollars there.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
Why would anyone sign it?
Well, what sucks is that when one person signs it or two, like enough people sign it, it becomes, you know, like if
the standard.
It's the standard. Like it's like in our job, like if someone you know, is charging $500 for a music video in creating the quality that we create with that money, it's like why would they ever go to us? Yeah. It's lowballing and people want jobs, and yeah, man, all this to say, like, the executives are like, yo, they're chilling on yachts right now, and pretty much their goal is to say, hey, whenever the writers and actors' houses start getting taken away from them, their cars start getting repossessed, then we'll have a conversation. Yeah. So they're kind of, you're hard-bodying them right now.
I saw that Ron Perlman, like, essentially threatened the executive that said that. He was like, yo, you better be careful what you say. Like, we know where you live. Like, that type of thing. Yeah, which is like, yo, hey, man, first off.
This isn't Sons of Anarchy, Ron, or Hell. These movies are fictional. Like,
yeah. Okay, let me say this on the topic. I don't know enough. I am not deeply enough involved in film. I mean, we've never been in the film industry, Hollywood industry. Same here. Yeah. So there's a lot of in and outs of the business that I'm not privy to, and therefore I can't speak on the specifics of that. Maybe these actors and writers are fully in the right. But what I can speak to is the music industry. And you have a lot of similar, like, I feel like we need to get the executive's perspective on some of these things and why certain decisions are being made and why the
people are signing contracts.
Yeah.
So if the contracts are signed, like,
well,
I don't know what that entails, but if the contracts are being signed, I think that's the problem, is that they don't want to sign some of these contracts and people aren't renegotiating. Yeah. But
what I was going to say on the music side that I can speak to is a lot of people have this idea that Spotify doesn't pay out enough or this or that. And
wait, I haven't heard about that. What do you mean?
Huh? Okay, so like, I mean, people all the time complain about Spotify royalty rates, and sometimes, by the way, people have really, really wrong numbers as to what the royalty rates actually are. It's about it's a little less than half a cent per stream. So it's like 0.0043. It fluctuates. It's based on a big pie, but that we don't have to get into the minutia of that. But the claim is that, you know, Spotify doesn't pay these people and whatever. And there's a lot that I could go into on that. But one thing is, I think that there's an entitlement around that. And so that's one thing I have a beef with, because it's very difficult to make a career as a musician. And you know, if you just simply have to have scale if you make music, right? Mm-hmm. In order to be able to put 500 people in seats in a given city, a lot of people have to know your music, right? And that's just the name of the game.
True. And you can't just be like a successful artist and have, you know, 4,000 monthly servers.
Right. And if you run a bakery or something, you can have a local market of people that will come by and, you know, your products, and then you can make a living from that. But with music, you have to have scale. And so anyway, one is like, hey, I have 4,000 monthly listeners, and I'm like not able to make this a full-time thing, which is kind of crazy. Another thing that I see there that gives added context to that is the deals that people have signed on the back end. So for me, I own the publishing and the master of most of my songs. So I'm getting all of the royalties from everything that's delivered from Spotify.
Yeah.
Some of these people are giving 20% to a manager. Their music is also locked up in a label deal, and so they're getting like they're not seeing any of.
They're getting the bottom of the pile.
Yeah,
Like
there's all these different percentages based on agreements that they've signed that kind of get taken out, and then at the I have friends. There's people that are doing this, and I don't have a problem with this business agreement at all. But I have a problem if you agree to this agreement and then don't. And then complain about it. But
Sure.
But it's like, all right, like if I don't have the money to pay you $500 for a beat, but I want your level of production quality, you might be like, oh, well, I believe in your music, so let's just go 50-50 on the master on the back end.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, that now takes my 0.0043 royalty rate per stream of $1 per stream, just cuts it in half right off rip. But you didn't have to pay up front for the beat, which can be a great agreement. But then when you're talking about how Spotify doesn't pay, that's a problem. And then
so going 50-50 all the time. You're saying like if you're choosing to go 50-50 all the time, it's like
well, just have
that might not be in your interest if you're looking about streams.
Or it could be. It just you have to make the correct decision. It could be because you didn't have to pay $500 up front or whatever for the
it's
beat.
Like, yeah.
So, but the thing is, know the business and then like be content with your decision that you made, despite if one of your songs blows up and now you're like, dang, like. I wish I had 100% of this song. Well, it's like, yeah, but you didn't want to take the risk of spending $500 up front in case it didn't recoup and you actually lost money on the song. So you guys have, But a third thing that I'll bring up is there is more flexibility and opportunity for the most amount of people now in the music industry than ever before. The alternative to streaming is that you had to have CDs, and your CDs... you would have to have a label deal in order to get major label distribution. So if your CD was not in Walmart or not in FYE when it dropped, you weren't in the game. Mm-hmm. There was no opportunity for someone to just come and passively discover your thing. Now, you could sell CDs hand to hand, but it's like, that's a whole other world. Guess what? Yeah. I'm on Spotify. Drake is on Spotify. So if you listen to music on Spotify and you listen to Drake, guess what? You can find me on there as well. So if I can just get you to be exposed to my music, you can listen and it's right there. I don't have to.
There's this place where you can go and like get a huge list of just random artists that fit into your style, and you discover. It's called a playlist. Yeah. You just discover new people that fit into that category for you.
Another thing I'll say about Spotify too, and these are all counter arguments to this idea that Spotify is not paying people enough. Is, well, first off, I know that they're paying good money because I make good money from Spotify. Mm-hmm. I can speak to the specifics of that. But beyond that is people pay a lot of money for advertising their music, right? You want to pay to get out to eyeballs. Every business does that, marketing, right? So you're paying money whether you're investing in videos or you're running ads or whatever you're doing.
We do a little bit of that.
To get exactly. Yeah. So to get exposed to a bigger audience, Spotify has a ton of algorithmic playlists and just playlists in general that allow for an ecosystem where your music can be discovered. I have like almost 10 million of my total streams on Spotify have been as a result of Spotify serving them up for free. Actually, not even for free. I get paid for them serving my music up to new listeners.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
So you're an artist with 0 monthly listeners, right?
Right.
How do I start to see growth in my monthly listeners as a beginner artist? What do I need to do?
So if we're getting into music marketing,
you make great territory, music. Just at the assumption that you make great music.
I would start by building followers on Spotify. That's when somebody hits the follow button. So if I was starting straight up from scratch right now, I would be hitting up every single one of my friends, all my family, and I would be incentivizing them to hit follow on the page.
What does that do for someone?
So what that does for someone is there's a playlist called Release Radar. And every Friday, the playlist gets updated with music from the people you follow, which I think is an amazing thing for Spotify to do. Because I don't have to follow everybody on Instagram and hope that I see their post whenever they're dropping a new single so I know the artist that I want to listen to has released music. I can just check my Release Radar playlist every Friday, and if anybody that I follow has dropped new music, it's going to be in there. So I can always keep up. But, when you have followers... Like, let's say you have 1,000 followers on Spotify. Every time I release a song, some subset of those people are going to listen to the Release Radar playlist, and they're going to stream my song. So the higher follower count that I have, the more first day streams I'm going to have just from Release Radar, right? And so for me, I have 39,000 followers on Spotify right now. My first day streams, if I never tweeted about it, if I just posted about it at all on Instagram, if I just released it on Spotify, it's going to do 5,000 streams first day, guaranteed. Mm-hmm. It's going to do 30,000 streams first week. Gotcha. And that's because of Release Radar. And so that is a predictable way that you can start to build your audience.
And people go on that Release Radar.
Yeah, well, look, even if they don't care about me and my release specifically, they're going to listen to Release Radar because, all their favorite artists are in there. Yeah, and my song will happen to be in there. Yeah. And over time, like, let's say you're a friend of mine and I make music, but you're not really tapped into my music. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I get you to follow because you're like, yeah, dude, I'll follow you. I support you, whatever. But you actually want to listen to Drake and Travis Scott and Kendrick. Well, when you're listening to your Release Radar playlist and then
you go on a run, you hit release.
Yeah, exactly. And you hear my song come up and you're like, yo, this is kind of fire. And then you're like, wait, that's Nate.
Yeah.
Then you start diving
into... Let me go check out some of the other stuff real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and you start to build that. So that's one like tried and true strategy initially. I mean, there's tons of conversation around how to market your music, but that's one. Anyway, to back it up though, my whole point is that it's easy to complain about the way that the business works and like I should be making more money and this and that. And I'm not saying that the writers and actors are not justified because I don't know the business. Mm-hmm. So I'm not able to speak on that, but I can speak on the music side. And when people make some of those claims, it's easy. It sounds good for people to be like, yeah, Spotify should be paying people. What? Like they're getting a fraction of a penny per stream.
Yeah.
But then it's like, yeah, bro, you got to have streams in order to make money. And when if you look at that royalty rate, every million streams is $4,300. Every million streams is $4,300. I'm doing like a few million streams a month. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't own all of my songs, so the amount that I make is a little bit less than that. But that's like, it's like, yo, this is not an absurd royalty rate or level. And that being said, I would love to hear the executive's perspective on that because I think the only conversation that is going to be heard is all your favorite actors and writers and things. And I would just be interested to hear what the executives had to say. Now, if the executives are like, if the response is like that one executive, right, which they're pointing to, but if the response is like, they're just whining, that's not adequate for me. It's like they're just whining. You know what I'm saying? But if they're like, yo, like COVID-19 and pandemic restrictions have put a lot of bottlenecks on the industry. Streaming services kind of have a strong arm a little bit because they can decide, you know what I'm saying, how much they'll accept with this. Maybe there's some reasons to why they're not able to cut our actors and writers in on that front. I don't know.
On that note,
but go ahead.
In the comments, if you have more information on both sides of the spectrum in terms of the writers, actors versus the executives who are involved with all this, love to hear it so we can discuss it maybe later on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's a risky world out here. There's a lot of movies that are on the hold. What's crazy, I want to mention this though, is like the UK actually they're under different laws and they have a guild of their own. Essentially, so we're on the side of our people in the States, but they can't do anything about it and they don't have similar problems. So yeah, it's kind of funny that stuff like House of Dragon is still in production, which is kind of selfish to say, but like I'm glad. Like some UK productions are still popping off right now. Stuff like that is still going to work out. And right now, Deadpool is actually still shooting, but they can't make any improvisations or changes to the script. So they're still shooting it. And hopefully, I'm trusting that, usually their scripts are great. I'm trusting that the movie is just, I feel like there's a lot of improv in there, but still, like, hoping that that movie is still goated. But, man, either way, depending on what side you choose, like, I wish the best for everyone involved. I wish that executives are making the movies happen. Writers are making the movies happen. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We get to watch the movies. Yeah. So I just want to see it all work out so we can get some writers back in there making incredible stuff.
For sure.
They're all creatives. They all enjoy what they do. And I would hate to see them to lose their situation and lose their lives and not be able to focus on what they love. So I hope that works out.
100%. 100%. Yeah. And like I said, just to reiterate, I just want to make it clear that I don't have a position on that.
What Nate is trying to say is
I'm trying to say is, y'all better quit whining and get back to work.
We're trying to be
executives on yachts Yeah,
We're trying to be the executives right now. We're not interested in writing a movie.
Yeah, dude.
No, movies make a lot of money. How do I get involved with making some of that money? That's how my mind thinks. I don't go, is the movie good or bad? I go, can I get a paycheck from it?
Yeah. Well, dude, I got one more little topic along the lines of that I just want to bring up because I think it's really interesting before we hop off of here. You mentioned deep fakes and The Flash. I'm sure you know this, but The Flash, because you've seen the movie.
I have.
The Flash, there's a lot of controversy around it because The Flash used deep fakes to bring actors that are dead into their movie. And so there's a lot of weird conversations around this because the actors can't consent to their likeness being used, even if their, even if their estates or whatever gave permission. It's like, well, the estates are if these
They're not
actors
speaking on behalf of the real people.
Right. If the actors had read the script, they might be like, I don't want my character, I don't want to do this movie because the character is being portrayed like this, or I don't know what the arc of the movie is or whatever. I'm going to sit this one out. And they're basically speaking on their behalf. And what you were talking about, like the fanfare type situation, is why they're doing it. But the big criticism is like, yo, is this going to be a new standard where we just can use these people's likeness? And one of the especially heinous parts of the whole Flash controversy, though, is that they had George Reeves, who was Superman back in the 50s. He was real popular for being Superman back then. They put him into the Flash. Obviously, we already covered the part that if you're deceased, you know what I'm saying, you can't consent. But what's especially crazy about them putting him in the movie is that he only took the Superman role back in the 50s because he was desperate for a role. He was having trouble making money, and he got the opportunity. His concern was that I don't want to pigeonhole myself as Superman. And he was worried that it would ruin, because he had some success before this. He was worried that it would ruin his appearance of being like, you know, a Hollywood leading man, and would kind of be like, hey, this is Superman, like the kid's favorite guy, and now he's this, right? And his concerns were valid because as it goes, you know, he did several Superman, I think it was a TV show actually, but he played Superman, and then after that, he could not get any work. And on top of that, he wasn't making very much money to boot. So he couldn't get work because the executive was like, yo, like, you are Superman, and so it's going to be hard for...
To the kids.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard for us to cast you in a serious movie when people are only going to see Superman. And, bro, that part of the equation and the fact that he couldn't get work and didn't have enough money, bro, led him to commit suicide.
He killed himself because he was so stuck in the role as Clark Kent and Superman?
I can't say if that's the direct reason. There's a lot of speculation about that, but the reality is I'm sure that the stress about that he experienced was, and his regrets about being Superman, how it kind of took his career in Hollywood, resulted in him having, you know, depression and anxiety around some of those things. And, you know, I'm sure it was a big contributing, I mean, your career is a big part of your life. So I'm sure it was a big contributing factor to him committing suicide. Also, there's controversy around his suicide. Some people think he didn't commit suicide, and there was some weird stuff going on. But if he did commit suicide,
rest in peace,
because of his frustrations with being pigeonholed as Superman, and then the Flash movie casts him as Superman without his consent, it's especially like kind of demented
heinous
and twisted.
Yeah, it is
with the whole thing.
Here's what I gotta say. I gotta say that no, let's just not use dead people. As AI.
Here's what I have to say about that, bro. No.
I'm just saying, though, it's like, what did we do before it was possible?
Yeah, no, you recast.
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like, we got new technology. Let's just make a Michael Jackson album. No.
Yeah.
We don't have, that's not like, it's morally wrong to do these things.
Yeah.
The state does not represent that man as an individual.
Yeah.
He's the dead one.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, the estate, they probably got a little check from it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like, bro, come on. Like, we don't have to do that. It was cool. I did not know that. I watched the Flash movie, seen it. I was like, oh, that's the dude from I remember seeing those as like, just like images and old footage of that show or movie. And I was like, oh, it's cool seeing him. I wish I would have known.
Yeah.
I would have walked out of the theater or throw a grenade at the screen or something. You know what I mean? I would have done something.
Yeah, you would have gone Ron Perlman on him.
I would have Ron Perlman the executives.
Yeah, you'd have told him like, I know where you live, bitch.
Yeah, I know. We all know where the executives live. All you have to do is drive to Beverly Hills. Like that's not a flex. That's not a flex. We know where you live. Yes, the hills. You all live in the hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's Hollywood, bro. Come on. Anyways, yeah, I don't think we should use. We shouldn't use. I mean, even when they did that little. Remember that time they did like a Tupac hologram, like a long time ago. Mm-hmm. That was weird.
Yeah. Well, also music and AI, the Drake stuff. Like we're entering weird territory with a lot of this AI and deepfake stuff. I mean, I'm sure we can table that for another conversation. But
I can't remember what streamer it was, but I did hear. We can talk about it on a different timeline. That there's some fans who are deep faking their favorite streamers into pornography. Using porn stars' bodies.
Oh my goodness. That is especially heinous, bro.
Crazy podcast, bro.
Dude,
I can't believe that you pieced up a girl.
I didn't. Not successfully.
Oh, you tried to piece up a girl and she dodged and weaved you.
She was like probably putting her hand on my head.
You seen how Tube dodged and weaved it?
Yeah. But awesome, man. We'll do great podcast. Can't wait to do the next one next week. And then we're on a cruise. We're going to have a cruise edition of the podcast.
Are we going to do a podcast on the cruise?
We 100% are.
Dang,
we're gonna have our girls in it. We're gonna have Casey and his wife in it. So y'all gonna get to see some
Casey's
of our.
Casey's gonna be in it too. Mm-hmm. Oh man, y'all are in for a treat.
Some of our friend dynamics is gonna be lit, dude.
Yes.
So all right, guys.
Greg's not invited. All right.
Adios.
Peace.
Bah, bah.
Yeah, baby, need top 5 when I'm done going mental. Yeah, I'm like, then you can peep my credential in the lab all winter, all summer. Yeah, I went dumb, now I'm about to go dumb and throwing